In the previous class, we have learnt about the measurements of horizontal distances using chain, tape, and their corrections. We also learnt about the measurements of the horizontal angles with reference to magnetic bearings. In the second unit, we will learn about measurements of distances in vertical plane. You can see in the picture there are some series of lines which are drawn with certain numbers, and you can also see in a lake and some numbers to it. These lines are called as contours. Although this is represented on xy plane, this shows about the vertical height of the surface. You can clearly see from the figure that X is a point which is located at a closed annular ring which is near and about center. And if you come down, you can also see the values which are decreasing from 1500 to 1000 and thereby 800, and you can see the lake. What are these values represent? These values represents the vertical distances of the line. The lines joining the lines joining the equal elevation on the ground surface are called as contours. Equal elevations in the means this distance or the elevations are calculated with reference to some point. Normally this point is taken near a known elevation or it is considered as a zero elevation. In India, the zero elevation is considered in Mumbai. For example, the zero level which is considered in Mumbai is taken as mean sea level. The lines represents the vertical distance of the ground station points with reference to mean sea level. 800 line represents the line joining the points of 800 vertical distance on the ground surface. Similarly 1000. Similarly 1500. 1500 is a line along the ground where the height is 1500 vertical distance from the mean sea level. This represents a actual scenario of ground terrain. If you closely observe the contour lines, you can see these values are increasing towards inwards, which represents a hill. These lines are also very important in order to design a water supply or a sewage layout for any city or town. Oftenly, sewage water and water supply charged to the household due to the gravity. Gravity means it flows under its own. There is no need of pump at all. If my elevation or if my reservoir it is at a higher elevation, and if I connect it with the pipeline to the lower elevation, if I open my valve, then water or sewage will automatically travel due to its gravity. So here is in the picture you can see a small map of a town where contour lines are drawn and north symbol is also given, and below also seen you can see the scale. These lines represents the points of equal elevation. You can clearly see there is a bandstand where there is a 30 meters of elevation, and later toward downward side you can see the contour lines are decreasing. Towards southern part it is decreasing, and you have again a higher elevation more than 30, which is 32.5, which is a preferable location for any reservoir. With the contours you can take the decisions where reservoir can actually be constructed. This is a representation of 3D picture of a contour map which is modeled in a software. All that we calculate is only the lines, but software can allow you to represent the 3D model of the diagram. If you look at the same diagram from top, you can see only the lines. And these lines are when they are plotted in XY plane, those lines are called as contours. Often these are taken in order to understand the behavior of the volcano or the tectonic plate movements. Tectonic plate movements often create hills and mountains and volcanoes. In order to calculate the elevations or how much height it is increasing annually, these contours are usually taken. These contours are also used in calculating the earthwork required, which is for roads and railways. You can see the green pattern in the figure which represents the ground terrain conditions where we need to engineer it in order to fulfill our road requirements. Some part of the road is filled in order to make the elevation of our road. Some part of earth is cutting in order to maintain our road level. So these are all comes under a subject called leveling.